You could give her the world and she still won't care. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. In this video, we're talking about a brutal reality most men don't want to face. Women don't care about everything you do for them. You could buy her gifts, solve her problems, be there for her 24/7. But if you're not giving her what she actually wants, none of that matters. She'll leave, lose interest, or start treating you like you're replaceable. And you'll be sitting there wondering, after everything I did, how could she walk away like that? Welcome to the channel, where we speak to men with clarity, truth, and zero sugarcoating. Today's topic is uncomfortable but necessary. The 5 things women really want, and why all your effort means nothing without them. This isn't about hating women. It's about understanding them. The moment you grasp what truly matters to a woman beneath all the polite words and social media quotes, you stop wasting your time, energy, and money on things that don't move the needle. So why do so many good men get walked all over? Because they believe that being nice, loyal, and generous will automatically win her over. But that's not how attraction works. Women don't fall in love with effort. They fall in love with impact. And this video is going to strip away the illusions. No more guessing. No more hoping that being a good guy will be enough. I'm going to walk you through 5 core things a woman actually wants from a man. Once you understand this, you'll stop overgiving and start standing out. Before we break it all down, make sure you subscribe right now, because every week we bring you the unfiltered truth men need to hear to stop being ignored and start being respected. Let's get into it. Men are raised to believe that the more effort you put in, the more you'll be appreciated. That's true in sports, in school, and in business. But when it comes to women, that logic can actually work against you. Women don't automatically desire a man just because he tries hard. In fact, too much effort, especially early on, can make you look desperate, emotionally needy, and low value. And that's not attractive. The uncomfortable truth is, just because you're doing a lot doesn't mean she feels anything for you. Desire is emotional, it's not logical. She doesn't think, wow, he texts me every morning and bought me dinner twice. I guess I should like him now. That's not how it works. She wants to feel a pull toward you that she can't explain. And that pull doesn't come from effort. It comes from presence, confidence, and unpredictability. Here's how it plays out. A guy meets a woman and starts doing everything for her. He offers rides, buys gifts, showers her with compliments, and responds to every message within seconds. He thinks he's showing her how serious and committed he is. But from her perspective, it feels off, too much, too soon. She starts to wonder, why is he trying so hard? What does he want from me? Why doesn't he have anything else going on? Now contrast that with a man who doesn't overextend. He shows interest, but he's not throwing himself at her. He has his own life, his own rhythm. He engages her without trying to impress her. That man makes her curious. She feels something, and that feeling turns into attraction. Here's the lesson. Effort without impact is wasted motion. You're not being judged by how much you do, but by how you make her feel. That's what desire is built on. Work smarter, not harder. Because if effort alone worked, every nice guy would be married by now. Here's something most men never figure out. Women don't fall in love with the man who gives them the most. They fall for the man who makes them feel the most. It's not about what you hand her. It's about how you affect her emotionally. A lot of men think they can buy loyalty or love through gifts, favors, or constant attention. They assume that if they keep giving, she'll see their value and choose them. But the truth is, women want emotional leverage in a relationship. They want to feel like they have your attention, your focus, your energy, without being fully in control of it. It's a power dynamic, and most men hand over that power without even realizing it. You could spend money on her, plan every detail of her birthday, treat her like a queen, and she still might feel emotionally disconnected. Why? Because it's not about the things you give. It's about the feeling she gets when she's around you. And if she feels like she has all the control, all the certainty, all the emotional leverage, she loses interest fast. She doesn't want to be worshipped. She wants to be stimulated. She wants the emotional ride, not the perfect routine. Predictability is not romantic. Emotional engagement is. She wants to feel tension, curiosity, anticipation. She wants the kind of connection that keeps her guessing a little, not a man who's constantly trying to win her approval every second of the day. This is where most men mess up. They confuse providing for a woman with pleasing her emotionally. Those are two very different games. You can be generous without being weak. You can be loving without being predictable. You can make her feel secure without giving her full control. When a woman gets used to you giving everything and expecting nothing, she gets bored. She starts seeing you as someone she can manage, not someone she craves. And once you lose that emotional edge, attraction fades quietly. Understand this. Women want to feel emotionally alive. They want to be moved by you, not just treated well. It's the man who can stir something inside her, who keeps her coming back. So stop trying to buy what can only be earned through presence, unpredictability, and emotional depth. Quick question for you. Have you ever felt like you gave a woman everything, only to watch her drift away anyway? If that hit you, drop a tut in the comments. I want to see how many men have been there. You've heard it before. Be kind. Be respectful. Be there for her. Sounds like good advice, right? On paper, it makes sense. But in the real world, the so-called nice guy doesn't get chosen. He gets used. Let's be honest. A nice guy is the emotional spare tire. The guy she calls when things fall apart. He listens. He supports. He gives without question. And he waits. Waits for her to finally notice him. But deep down, even he knows he's not her first choice. He's just the safe one. And women do appreciate nice guys. They'll say, "He's so sweet. He's always there for me." But notice how they say that, while texting someone else they're actually attracted to. That's the problem. Safety and attraction don't always live in the same house. You can be the guy who gives her everything, and still not be the man who makes her feel something, the man she dreams about, the man she desires. That's not the guy who always nods along and says yes. Here's the straight truth. The more predictable you are, the more invisible you become. The nice guy never pulls back, never challenges her, never says no. He bends over backward to make her comfortable, and in doing so, he becomes forgettable. Now here's the kicker. It's not that women hate nice guys. It's that niceness without edge lacks gravity. Think about it. When was the last time someone was magnetically drawn to a doormat? What she feels for the nice guy is control. And control is the death of mystery, tension, and emotional fire. If she can predict your every move, if she knows you'll be there no matter what, she doesn't feel compelled to choose you. You're not a challenge. You're a guarantee. And nobody gets excited about what's guaranteed. Here's your takeaway. Being good isn't the problem. Being predictable is. Women want a man who's grounded, but not passive, kind, but not spineless, available, but not desperate. So stop being the safe option. Start being the man who inspires her respect. Comment below. Have you ever been the guy she vented to about her actual boyfriend? If you've been stuck in that nice guy role, you know exactly what I mean. Let's get this out of the way. Everyone likes to be appreciated. Compliments feel good. Being told you're amazing or "you mean a lot to me" hits the ego in all the right places. But here's the danger. When your sense of worth depends on hearing those things, especially from her, you're not receiving validation. You're begging for it. And women can sense that a mile away. Here's what you need to understand. Validation-seeking behavior is not just unattractive, it's repellent. It signals to her that your self-worth is shaky, that you need her to tell you you're a man before you feel like one. And the moment she sees that, something shifts. She no longer looks up to you. She looks down. She might not even realize it consciously, but the polarity changes. Because the man who constantly chases approval doesn't lead, he follows. And following energy kills attraction. Think about it. When you fish for compliments, when you over-explain yourself, when you panic every time she goes quiet and ask, "Are you mad at me?" You're bleeding masculine energy. Deep down, you know it. You know the moments where you shrank instead of holding your frame. When you apologized just to keep the peace. When you tailored your words so she wouldn't pull away. That's not strength, that's performance. And every time you do it, you train her not to respect you. Now don't twist this. I'm not saying be cold or robotic, but your core identity cannot be up for auction every time she's in a mood. You can't outsource your self-worth to her attention. Because when you do, you teach her one thing. Your value is negotiable, and no woman wants to be in charge of your confidence. It's not sexy, it's exhausting. She wants a man who's rooted, a man who can take silence, distance, or even conflict, and not flinch, not crumble, not chase. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Why? Because they understood something most men still don't. Other people's opinions, especially momentary approval, are not a stable foundation. A man who practices Stoicism doesn't avoid emotion. He just doesn't hand over his emotional keys to anyone else. Here's your shift. Notice when you're seeking validation. That anxiety when she leaves you on read. That urge to explain yourself when you feel misunderstood. That dip in your mood when she's less responsive. Catch it, name it, and then don't act on it. Instead, act from principle. Ask yourself, what would the man I want to become do in this moment? Not the scared boy, not the eager pleaser, the man. That's where your power lives. Comment below. Have you ever caught yourself chasing validation, only to feel smaller because of it? If you've been there, type, "I felt that" in the comments. Let's see how many men have learned this lesson the hard way. Let's get something straight. She doesn't want a fan. She wants a force. And if you think putting her on a pedestal, praising everything she does, and treating her like a flawless goddess will make her stay, you're in for a rude awakening. Because while that kind of worship might feel romantic to you, to her, it feels hollow. Women don't crave perfection. They crave polarity. And polarity doesn't come from worship. It comes from challenge. Now, challenge doesn't mean arguing, nagging, or picking fights. That's immaturity. Real challenge is energetic. It's the vibe of, "I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to meet you where you're strong and push you where you're soft." It's the ability to disagree with her without fearing she'll walk away. It's holding your frame when she tests your boundaries. It's calling her out, not to hurt her ego, but to awaken her standards. Because whether she says it or not, she wants to feel something. And emotional tension, the right kind, is what keeps that spark alive. Have you ever gone out of your way to always say the right thing? To suppress what you really think just to keep the peace, only to watch her slowly lose interest? That's not bad luck. That's the worship trap. When a woman senses that you're molding yourself around her, never pushing back, never leading the way, she may enjoy the attention at first, but eventually the energy shifts. You become predictable. You become soft. You become easy to dominate. And no woman respects a man she can dominate. Attraction fades the moment she feels more masculine than you. And worship does exactly that. It flips the polarity. You stop being the grounded leader. You become the emotional follower. But here's where challenge changes everything. When you challenge her mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you activate something deeper than surface-level attraction. You activate her respect, her growth instinct, her desire to rise to meet you. And here's the beautiful twist. When you challenge her, she feels more alive. She respects you more. She shows up more fully. That connection doesn't burn out. It evolves. Comment below. Have you ever lost a woman by being too safe and too pleasing? If that hit home, type "never again" in the comments. Stay with me, because in next part, I'll show you why being needed is not the same as being wanted, and why confusing the two destroys men silently. There's a dangerous illusion most men fall for. The idea that if she needs you, she'll stay. That being the one who solves her problems, lifts her up when she's down, or helps her through life's chaos, somehow earns you a place in her heart. It feels noble. It feels masculine. It feels like you're her rock. But here's the raw truth. Being needed is not the same as being wanted. In fact, sometimes it's the opposite. Need creates dependency, and dependency is about survival, not desire. A woman might cling to you out of fear, comfort, or convenience, but clinging isn't choosing. Clinging is survival. And trust me, that's not the energy you want to build attraction on. Because when someone needs you, it means you serve a purpose. When someone wants you, it means you are the purpose. Think about it. Maybe you've been there. She cried on your shoulder, vented about her life, leaned on you financially or emotionally. And in that moment, you felt chosen. You felt important. But what happened when her life stabilized? When she got back on her feet, she pulled back. Her energy shifted. Suddenly, you weren't as interesting anymore. That's when it stings, because you thought you earned her love, but all you earned was a role. Useful doesn't mean magnetic. Useful doesn't mean respected. Useful means replaceable. Stoicism teaches us this: clarity over comfort. And clarity is this: being someone's emotional crutch is not the same as being their emotional pull. So, how do you tell the difference? When someone wants you, they reach for you even when they're okay. They don't need chaos to justify your presence. They want you there simply because your energy pulls them in. That's the difference. Being needed is about her lack. Being wanted is about your presence. And when a woman chooses you from desire, not desperation, that's when real attraction begins. Comment below. Have you ever been dropped the moment she didn't need you anymore? If you've lived that, type "I've seen this" in the comments. Here's something nobody told you growing up. The man who doesn't react is the one she can't stop thinking about. It sounds simple, but let's unpack it. Most guys are taught to be emotionally available. Respond quickly. Validate often. Never let her feel uncertain for too long. The idea is, if you're always present and emotionally open, she'll feel secure and loved. But in reality, that kind of hyper-responsiveness often backfires. Why? Because emotions, especially female emotions, don't thrive in full stability. They thrive in polarity. And one of the strongest elements of polarity is restraint. Now, don't get it twisted. Restraint isn't coldness. It's not ghosting or shutting down. It's calm. It's the ability to observe instead of react, to absorb pressure without losing center, to stay still when she tests your frame. And believe me, she will test it. Because on some level, every woman wants to know, can I move him? Can I shake his center? Can I pull an emotional reaction out of this man? If the answer is yes, if every mood swing, every delayed text, every little jab pulls you into panic, she stops seeing you as a rock. You become just another wave in her emotional ocean. But if the answer is no, if you remain composed, grounded, thoughtful, suddenly the energy shifts. She leans in. Because that calm, that non-reaction, that's masculine tension, that's emotional gravity. It makes her feel more than any emoji-filled text or 3-paragraph explanation ever could. Your silence, your stillness, they say more than words. Here's the truth most men miss. Reacting quickly often comes from insecurity, not care. You're afraid of silence. You're afraid of losing her attention. But fear leaks. And once she smells that fear, she knows. She's the emotional leader now. And let me tell you, if she's the emotional leader, she may stay with you physically, but emotionally, she's already detaching. Women don't want to lead emotionally. They want to feel led. And leadership isn't control, it's direction, calm, stillness. When she throws attitude and you rush in with frantic apologies, she doesn't feel safe. She feels like she's with a boy who's scared of getting in trouble. But when you look her in the eyes and say calmly, I hear you. Take your time. That's power. That's presence. The less you react, the more she feels. Comment below. Have you ever noticed how she leaned in more when you stopped reacting to every little test? If that clicked, type, I felt that in the comments. Let's stop lying to ourselves for a second. You've been told that to win a woman over, you just need to show her how much you care. Be available, be generous, be consistent. Basically, just be there. But here's the brutal truth. If she doesn't have to earn you, she won't value you. That might sting, but deep down, you've seen it play out. You gave her your time, your energy, your heart, maybe even your money. You put her first before yourself, before your goals, sometimes even before your own self-respect. And at first, she seemed grateful, responsive, affectionate. But then, something shifted. Slowly she got colder, more distant, less impressed, less invested. And you were left wondering, what did I do wrong? The answer, you gave before she earned. And people, men or women, don't treasure what comes too easily. When you give away your presence, your attention, your commitment without any challenge, she subconsciously files you under available by default. And you never want to be default. You want to be a reward, not a consolation prize. Now here's where men get it wrong. They think making her earn them means playing games or acting distant. That's not it. It's about standards. It's about knowing exactly what kind of energy gets access to you. You're not punishing her. You're not making her jump through hoops. You're simply showing her that your time and commitment are reserved for women who meet you with equal energy, honesty, and effort. Because if she didn't bring anything to the table to keep you, she won't see you as a high-value man. She'll see you as someone hoping to be chosen. And the moment you start hoping to be chosen, you lose your edge. A man who knows his worth doesn't chase affection. He doesn't prove himself through overgiving. He lets women reveal themselves through their consistency, their effort, their investment. And when she earns access to that man, she values him, she respects him, because she worked for it. That's the difference between being a fallback and being unforgettable. Comment below. Have you ever given too much too soon and watched her pull away? If you've lived that painful lesson, type "never again" in the comments. Let's end with one of the most misunderstood and most powerful traits a man can develop: emotional detachment. Now, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't that make me cold, unfeeling, distant? Not if you understand it the right way. Emotional detachment isn't about shutting down. It's not pretending you don't care. It's not turning into some robotic stone-faced monk. That's not strength. That's avoidance. Real detachment is something else entirely. It's the ability to feel deeply without being ruled by what you feel. It's the power to stay grounded, even when emotions are running high. Especially in relationships, especially when it hurts. Because here's what most men don't realize. The more emotionally hooked you are on her reactions, her attention, her validation, the more control she has over you. Every time you react to silence, mood swings, or "we need to talk" texts, you stop leading, you start chasing. And that's exactly where most good men lose their power. Emotional detachment gives you that power back. It allows you to pause instead of panic, to sit with discomfort without needing to fix it right away, to face rejection, ghosting, hot and cold behavior, and not collapse inside. It makes you unpredictable, not because you're playing games, but because you're not emotionally dependent. And independence, that's magnetic. Here's the paradox. The man who needs her love to feel whole will never get her full respect. But the man who can walk away, who values his peace above her approval, is the one she can't stop thinking about. That's what Stoicism trains you for. Not numbness, strength. Detachment means you acknowledge the pain, the frustration, the desire. But you don't act like a puppet on strings. You choose your moves. And in a world where most men are constantly reacting, a man who chooses is rare, valuable, unforgettable. Comment below. Do you want this kind of strength? If you're ready to stop being controlled by emotions, type "I want this" in the comments. You made it to the end, and that tells me something. You're not here for quick tricks. You're here to evolve, because at the core of emotional detachment, boundaries, and presence, it's not about women. It's about you, the man you choose to be when no one's clapping, when she pulls away, when life doesn't hand you what you want. That's where real masculinity gets forged. So if you're ready to build that version of yourself, not just talk about it, this channel is where it happens. Hit subscribe right now. Join the brotherhood. And if you're serious about leveling up your mindset, presence, and power, join our private Stoic members community. That's where we go even deeper. No fluff, no distractions. Just men doing the real inner work. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, stay calm, stay dangerous, and never hand your power to anyone.